Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Her Paper Route podcast. I'm Chelsea Clark. This is episode 19. I'm chatting with Tracy Medeiros today of Medeiros Consulting, and we are talking about productivity systems and strategies and operational best practices. I could definitely use a little help in the organization department, so I have a lot of questions to ask her. Let's go.
You're listening to the Her Paper Route podcast, a show all about money and entrepreneurship with host Chelsea Clark. Chelsea is a marketing strategist and the founder of herpaperroute.com, a friendly and supportive hive for ambitious, passionate entrepreneurs like you to learn how to growth hack your idea into a profitable business. We encourage you to fearlessly tackle your wildest goals. We know that as your own boss, you can deliver your unique message and make more paper. You just need a plan. Here's your host, Chelsea Clark.
Tracy is a systems strategist and operations consultant who helps scattered solopreneurs go from frazzled and all over the place to prepared and organized CEOs by teaching productivity systems and operational best practices. Welcome to the show, Tracy.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
This is so great to have you here to share some productivity hacks with us because what you offer is something that every entrepreneur needs. How did you get started in this business?
Well, I actually came from a corporate background. I was in corporate for 14 years. So my background's project management, account management, operational management. And so a lot of these best practice, Six Sigma, ISO 9001, a lot of these best practices come from my corporate background. And then I moved to Kauai, and for me, Kauai is a nostalgic place. I was here as a kid visiting family a lot during like holidays and vacations and such. And I remember it as a different time than when I came as an adult. So there were a lot of family-owned businesses that I saw struggling, and businesses that had amazing products or awesome services, but they were just struggling. And I saw how I could help them with that. And I kind of started my business by accident. I saw a need and I was stewing for a while, like, how could I really put this into action? And I took a job. I took a job here where I was thrown into the community, and I was talking a lot with these small businesses as well as contractors and stuff like that. So one day I was talking to a contractor, and he was complaining about how he was $15,000 in outstanding invoices. And I knew his family background. He had a wife at home that was pregnant. And I'm like, kind of looked at him astounded and was like, oh my gosh, you can't do this. You know, your wife's pregnant. Give me your invoices and I will take care of this. Because how do you go on? He's like, I just don't have the time to collect. And so the next day he came to my office and he brought to me a pile of napkins and Post-it notes. And I kind of said, well, no wonder nobody's paying you. So it all kind of got the ball rolling when I set him up on a payment system and created some canned emails that he could quickly, auto send. And I did recoup a lot of his $15,000 like within a week. It was really quickly. It wasn't the whole amount, but it was like a good amount of it. And he was just shocked. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, I have a plumber friend that you need to do the same thing to. And it just kind of spread word of mouth.
I love that. So now that you're running your own business and you're managing clients left and right, and you're managing their productivity, how do you manage your own? Do you have a morning routine that sets you up to stay productive throughout the day?
So my day typically starts with my own CEO time in the morning. So that's where I do my morning routine. I meditate. I kind of do the things that need to prepare me to be the most productive that I can be, because I'm not only being productive for myself, I'm also being productive with my clients. And kind of getting what that day looks like. And from there, I check in with Voxer. Voxer is my friend with my clients. It is just a great benefit to them to be able to kind of have me in their pocket. And I enjoy it. I'm a talkative person, so I enjoy checking in with them every morning. And a lot of the times they have to-dos, and I need to check on their to-dos. As a hybrid project manager, that's always going to be in me. So I will always make sure that deadlines are being met, and the things that they wanted to get done for the week, they're prepared to start, and they have everything that they need to get that accomplished. So client work always comes first in the morning, because that's my high value time, where I am on my toes and thinking strategically. And then from there, I meet with my VA, and she will kind of give me a report as to, okay, if there's anything that you've forgotten, this is your reminder. And I meet with her, and we do that. And then it's preparing my business for growth as well. So we really work one-on-one with our clients. So the majority of the time is with them, but I do have CEO time for my business as well. So that is really important to make sure that it's growing as well.
There is a ton more coming up on today's episode, but first I want to quickly thank our sponsors for making this show possible. Raise your hand if you are getting tired of being charged more by your email service provider the more subscribers that you get. It's almost like you're being penalized just for successfully growing your list. Well, my friend, you are going to love Flowdesk. With Flowdesk, you can manage all of your newsletters, funnels, and opt-in forms just like every other email platform, but they give you unlimited subscribers for one flat price forever. There is no tiered pricing system. They never charge you more as your list grows. And right now, Flowdesk is giving Her Paper Route podcast listeners 50% off for life. So you get unlimited subscribers for just $15 per month for life. Go to herpaperroute.com/Flowdesk to get this deal. And as a thank you for becoming a Flowdesk customer using my link, I'll give you free enrollment in my premium email marketing course. So you can learn how to grow, nurture, and sell to your list without ever having to feel like a salesy creep. Get all the goods at herpaperroute.com/Flowdesk. Do you have a goal-setting process that works for you for how you set and achieve your own goals?
I would just say that one of my biggest tips for goal setting is making sure that you reflect on the previous year and check in to, what went well, what didn't go so well, what do you need to change to meet those goals, and make sure that you're really committed to the goals that you set. I think that people abandon and don't meet their goals when there's not a full commitment to it, or they don't know why they set it. So I think that's the biggest tip.
What are some top productivity hacks that every entrepreneur needs to hear today?
I have always been a planner ever since, I would even say, into high school, but I use basically the philosophy of picking a theme for the year, and that is what every goal is going to roll into. And then doing it in 90-day sprints where there's a medium-sized goal that you break it down into quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. And that's how I attack goals. I have to make sure, I think there's a lot of reflective process that you need to go through, because I think sometimes we get caught up in what we think we should be setting as goals or what people want us to do as goals.
Right. So if you have a client that is having trouble figuring out how to set their goals, what do you say to your clients to help them find their why for how they're going to be able to stay focused on those goals?
I tend to want to hear it from them. Like, I can hear the passion in your voice, and I can really pick up quickly why you want to do something. You may not know, but I can tell how you react, that you are passionate about it. And then just drilling down into why there's a passion there. And perhaps, there's a strategy that may be a little different, but for the most part, the why resource is my best.
Why. I love it. If someone is running their business solo and they are managing all of the many aspects themselves and things are getting overwhelming and out of hand, what is the first thing that they should focus on to work towards getting their operational systems in place?
The very first thing that they need to work on is their planning and organization and time management. So they need to create their dreamy CEO schedule. And I always say that you need to plan your personal things first, because otherwise they're the first things that we drop on our calendars. But create, what does that look like? Are you only working 6 hours a day? Are you working 10 hours a day, but you have a break in between because you have to take kids to school? What does your day realistically look like, and how many hours can you contribute to your work? And then we also break down what are the necessities of doing your job. And obviously the necessities come first, and making sure that you have a schedule. And of course, not everybody's going to follow that schedule every day, but you have something to fall back to. If a day explodes, you can go back to what it's supposed to look like. And it's really easy to get on track. I find that sometimes if you don't have that template in place of what your dreamy schedule looks like, once it is blown, it's really hard to find yourself back on a schedule. So that's like the first thing, is we create your dreamy schedule, what it looks like, in a perfect world. And then we fit in all your obligations to make sure you can attain those things. And I'm a big proponent of tracking your time, especially if you maybe are new to this and you don't necessarily know how much time things take. I think we as humans think we're Superman and Superwomen, and we can do everything in a lot less time than we actually do it. So we kind of are setting ourselves up for failure right away, because we're like, oh, we only need to do this for 30 minutes and then our schedule is blown. But making sure we know realistically what those tasks are that we're doing in the day and how long it really takes us to do them.
My go-to project management tool has to be HoneyBook. It handles my clients, my projects, my invoices. It also has contact forms and questionnaires, appointment scheduling, and task management, and keeps me on the ball so I never miss something important. And everyone listening can get a free trial of HoneyBook by going to herpaperroute.com/honeybook. And if you decide to upgrade, you will get 50% off your first year, which is a savings of $280. Whether you are already an entrepreneur or you're still working your 9-to-5, everyone should still have an online business. Especially right now, with so many coronavirus concerns, running an online business is where it's at. But not everyone has the time to spend building one up from scratch. I run a marketplace called blogsforsale.co, where you can buy an established or a starter blog that already has traffic and revenue. So you can skip the process of starting a blog from scratch and just jump into owning one that is already. We add new listings weekly, so come on and swing by blogsforsale.co. That's blogsforsale.co, and see what listings we currently have today. Are there any productivity or project management tools or apps that you swear by?
I actually sat down on a Saturday morning. Oh, I'm just going to take 5 minutes. I think I literally told my husband this. I'm going to take 5 minutes, take a look to see what everybody's talking about. And I literally stayed at my desk all day long to move everything from Asana into ClickUp and play with it and just get acclimated to it. And I haven't looked back.
Oh, yes, I love ClickUp as well. I'm a big fan of ClickUp. What are some important operational best practices that every business owner should follow?
SOPs. Everybody needs to have standard operating procedures in their business, even if it's just as a solopreneur. Having that out in a document form in a library alleviates so much room in your brain, and you always have something to fall back on. If we all have those moments where it's like, I know I'm dropping the ball somewhere. I know I'm forgetting something. You don't have to waste all the time trying to figure out what it was that you forgot. You can go to your SOP or your standard operating procedure and figure it out within seconds.
And what are some tasks or processes that can be automated to make life easier?
Lead generation, I think, is a big one. In fact, a lot of people, that's kind of, I think they stop thinking like at lead generation and onboarding and offboarding. But you can automate a lot of things. You can automate even portions of a process that'll give you back time. But onboarding not just clients, but team members, making sure that you have a process for that. And offboarding. One of my biggest things is that we all have a client journey, and at some point that client journey ends. But who knows what you're doing in your business? You may create a product down the road that's perfect for this client that you once had maybe a year ago or 6 months ago. And you do not want to have that awkward conversation. You haven't talked to them for a year, and now you're trying to get back into their life so that you can pitch to them. If you had a process in place that kept milestones, or, maybe you knew that they had a cat and the cat's birthday was a certain date, or their birthday or anniversary or whatever it is, some process in place so that you can keep that conversation going, because it's always easier to sell to a previous client than to a new one. So if you can keep that conversation open, automate that, and then you don't have those awkward conversations when you do create something down the road.
Ensuring that your website is legally compliant does not have to be confusing. Lawyer Amira at A Self Guru has created a legal template bundle for bloggers and entrepreneurs that covers your privacy page, your terms and conditions, and your affiliate disclosure page. She also has a whole legal store of every other type of contract and template that you could ever need. Go to herpaperroute.com/legal bundle to discover Amira's contract shop. How can our listeners connect with you to learn more about what you do and work with you?
Well, I would say that my website's probably the best place for that, and that's just medeirosconsulting.com. And I'm also a big Instagram fan. I'm on there consistently, and if you wanted to slide into my DMs, I love talking to people and making connections there as well.
I think that we all, as business owners, could definitely stand to improve our productivity processes and have those processes and systems in place. So thank you so much for sharing this.
Oh, no problem. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Everybody who's listening, we have hid some really cool freebies over at the show notes. So go to herpaperroute.com/show notes to find out what we've put there for you today. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to the Her Paper Route podcast. We hope you found this episode helpful. If you did, please say so by leaving us a review on iTunes. And be sure to share this episode with your friends. For more entrepreneurship resources and to connect with Chelsea, swing by herpaperroute.com. Now go make something.
Growing businesses and finance professionals, you need Bill Spend and Expense, the free-to-use spend management software. It's powered by the Bill Divvy Corporate Card, which helps growing companies scale with credit lines of $500 to $15 million, automated expense reports, and as many virtual cards as you need. For a limited time, get $500 when you get started with Bill Spend and Expense. Request a demo at bill.com/get500. Terms and conditions apply. Advertised credit ranges are not guaranteed and are determined at approval. Card issued by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.